Yeah, right. Who's come to the party later? That's not very lively. Who's coming to the party later? Who's buying me a drink? You wait till I get my party outfit on, you will. Right, okay, I'm going to introduce my lovely MC for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Charlie Ross.
Thank you, Erica. How are we then? We okay? In a good mood? Ready for a good fun day? Right, okay, a few announcements just to do some housekeeping at the start. I've been asked by some of the guests who are here today, if you do get a video stuff, can you not put it on YouTube, because that has all sorts of contractual stuff. You can put me on YouTube, I don't really give a, I don't really care so much about that. In fact, I heartily encourage it and endorse it, but the other guests, if you don't put things on YouTube, but please by all means do, feel free to take photographs, video record, whatever, just keep it for your own personal pleasure, whatever you may want to do with that in the quiet of your own home. And God knows that. Do you like my t-shirt? The geek shall inherit the earth, that's what I say. So yeah, so welcome to Who at the Fab Cafe. It's going to be a fabulous day, we're going to have a lot of fun, some fantastic guests, and we'll get a small dealer's area over there that Dwas have kindly sort of set up for us, and we've got the Big Finish area over there. If I can draw attention to CD number 88, Memory Lane, and 30s of Gallifrey, because I'm in them, and but yeah, so we're going to have a good day. So you're ready for it? We're going to have our first panel, which is going to be our Big Finish panel, and we're going to talk a little bit about what Big Finish do and some of the stuff they've been doing lately, and some fantastic guests. Are you guys all sorted? You ready and organised? Is that a thumbs up? Yes, okay, well we may as well just go on with it and introduce our first guest. I'm going to interview them. So, have you got your makeup on, John? Are you all sorted? You got eyeliner? Good stuff. Okay, so, in no particular order, well, no, we'll leave the best till last. Could you please welcome, first of all, John Ainsworth? And David Richardson. Yeah. And the lovely, the beautiful, fantastic, we all love her, Lisa Berman. Did you hear that, boys? Lisa got a cheer. Where's the cheer for John and David? I think you should give them a little cheer. Just to make them feel a little bit better. There we go. How are we, folks? So you can take the microphone off the stand if you want. You don't need to, grab it and sort of, pass them around amongst yourselves. So how are we all? Are we well?
Desperately well.
Desperately well. I don't know if that's an oxymoron, but that's good. So how's things with Big? Well, you kind of pointed out before the start that people actually, heaven forfend, might not know about Big Finish. So why don't you fill us in for those of, has anyone heard of Big Finish? Okay, has anyone not heard of Big Finish? Oh, there you go. Well, that's the first 10 minutes of the interview sorted out straight away. Can I go get a coffee? So, well, tell us then, what have you been up to lately? What's the latest Big Finish gossip?
Gossip. Well, David should have this. Because David, what's your role in Big Finish, David?
My role in Big Finish is I'm basically in charge of the scheduling. So in terms of when stuff gets written and produced and post-produced. Can you hear me?
A bit closer.
Yeah, so just making sure the machine runs. On top of that, I'm also producing the Companion Chronicles and the Lost Stories, both of which I like, actually, I have to say.
Now, the Companion Chronicles, if you could fill in for people what that is, because that's quite an interesting idea, it's a nice sort of concept. So tell us about that, what the Companion Chronicles actually are.
Yeah, they're basically stories told from the perspective of a companion, so it actually gets into their point of view, their frame of mind, and you have a guest actor as well who provides the second voice. We've done probably about 20 now, with a very broad range of companions doing them as well.
And the good thing is you've been able to use people like Carol Ann Ford who, by introducing doctors to Big Finish that you're not able to use in the Big Finish stories, which is a lovely idea.
Absolutely. And I mean, my brief to the people doing them is to try and make them entirely fit with the period. So, for example, with the Carol Ann Ford one, My brief for that was it had to feel black and white. When you were listening to it, you had to see that black and white title sequence, and everything in your mind had to be monochrome. And David Darlington just got it, didn't he?
David's Fall's just short of genius. In fact, no, I think he's moved into the genius territory now. He's just yes, the man is fabulous. Yeah, absolutely. He made me sound talented, which is going something, you know. So, Lisa, what have you been up to these days?
Well, I've been directing a couple of the, well, quite a few of the Companion Chronicles for David. And I've said before, actually, at a convention. Whoa, nice feedback.
Feedback.
Oh, there we go. Stand over there. Stand there. I was actually saying to a convention last week, what's been amazing is that quite a few of the companions haven't recreated their roles since they played them on television. And it's been really interesting seeing whether they can, A, sound younger, but actually whether they click back into it. We were talking about Katie Manning last week playing Jo. She hadn't played it since those early days, and she just slipped right back into it. She was fantastic, wasn't she? It's almost surreal.
Well, actually, what has been interesting, we've had people like Jean Marsh coming back to play Sarah Kingdom, and of course she hadn't played the role since the mid-60s, so I mean, obviously coming in, she was, you know, just probably not quite sure how it was going to be. And yet we got to the end of the first one, and she wants to do a second, and now we've done the second, and she wants to do the third. So she, I mean, she really loves doing them.
It's really hard for the 60s ones because there's not, particularly the Troughton stories, there's not a lot of reference material that the actor can go to look at to try and remind them.
We have been bringing in the DVDs for a couple of them, and some seemed reluctant, then halfway through they go and then show me.
And I have to say, we did one with Trevor Baxter and Christopher Benjamin.
It's out soon, you must get it, it's
playing
brilliant.
Jago and Lightfoot for the first time in 30 years.
And the talent of Wang Chiang, if I'm not already preaching to the converters.
But I bought the DVD in for that, and we kind of, at the lunchtime, we sat down and we were watching the extras, and we were in hysterics, weren't they? They were just...
So some clever technician had actually lifted all the copies of the behind the scenes. I mean, for those of you who've probably got the DVD, you've seen all the extras with the time bar codes at the top, and them getting it wrong and corpsing. And, but they, again, just slipped right back into it. They were an absolute joy, and we had a real laugh. It's called The Mahogany Murderers. Out soon, from Big Finish.
Sounds fabulous, sounds fabulous. And John, so what's been happening with Big Finish from your point of view these days? What have you been busy pottering away at?
The most recent things I've been doing are some of the Lost stories, which this is a sort of separate series of scripts that would have been produced as television Doctor Who's in 1986. It went on, was it 1986?
Between 1984 and 86, yeah.
And a lot of them coming from the season that was cancelled and then replaced by the Trial of Time Lord season, and the most famous one of which is The Nightmare Fair, and Mission to Magnus. Those two were both novelised, so I think everyone's heard of that, but David's managed to unearth loads of stories that I've never even heard of before.
It's been so exciting. I mean, we recorded a script called Leviathan this week, which I'd never heard of. I knew nothing about it. But just after we announced we were doing these Lost stories, a guy called Paul Finch wrote to me and said that his father, Brian Finch, had written this story back in 1984, and he sent me the rehearsal scripts, and they were all there. It was an entire written story, and it's brilliant. It's fantastic. We recorded it over 2 days this week, and Colin and Nicola absolutely loved it. You know, they thought it was terrific, and it was just so wonderful to see this piece of Doctor Who history that nobody knew anything about just come together. You know, we made it. It's brilliant.
I've asked this, we were talking about the 60s spell on the show. I've asked this question before, but I'm going to ask it again, just because you may have changed your mind. If someone came along, an actor came along, who could do a Stonewall spooky Hartnell Troughton Pertwee, would you ever consider it?
Would you be recasting the roles?
Yes.
We've always said no beforehand. I mean, we've sort of dodged around it. I mean, the Companion Chronicles are a way of doing the stories, and in the Doctor Who Bounds, we sort of, we cast Geoffrey Belden as an alternative first Doctor, but I don't think we'd ever really completely recast.
I don't think so.
I don't think people would like it.
How do you feel about that? Would you think that would be, is that a no-no, or would that be a, you're undecided? That's
I mean, because to be honest, there's one called, I can't remember what it's called now, but John Coleshaw is in it, and he does, it's a Peter Davison story, but he does a little cameo, Tom Baker is in it, which is good fun, but even that listening to you think, yes, it's very good, but you know it's not Tom Baker. And the trouble is, if you did a whole story like that, whether it's Tom Baker or someone politically fractured Trout, you just know it wasn't them.
Yeah.
I think loads of people will be able to suspend the disbelief.
I'd say at this point, if we could bring in Mr. Fraser Hines, who does the most incredible Patrick Troughton during the Companion Chronicles. I mean, so many people have remarked upon it.
Well, we'll need to get Frasers to do that at some point today, I think.
So you want to be the second Doctor? Do you
Get a couple of lines sorted.
We recorded a Companion Chronicles with Fraser recently called The Glorious Revolution, which is out in August, and it's finished now. It sounds absolutely fantastic, actually. Brilliant job.
Well, I was going to ask who does the best of their Doctor or the companion. So obviously Fraser does a good Pat Troughton. Did Katie do a good John Pertwee?
Yeah.
She did very good John Pertwee indeed.
Yeah.
And she did a particularly good Nicholas Courtney as well.
Interesting, interesting. So what's been going on with the other Doctors then? Oh, well, there's other stuff happening as well. I mean, the good thing at Big Finish is really as broad as it is tall, and then you've got other sort of avenues you're exploring. So have you any other interesting ideas you're coming up with and twists on the Doctor Who?
There's about 3 different Doctor Who titles come out each month, really, isn't there? There's a Companion Chronicle, a double CD from the main range, and at the moment the 8th Doctor 3rd series is going out.
That's right.
What we're doing this year for the main range of Doctor Who's is that it's been grouped into little mini seasons of 3. So we've just all the Peter Davison Key to Time trilogy's just come out. We're just about to start. Well, it has come out actually. It's a Magic Mousetrap.
Magic Mousetrap is out and is available at the table.
Which is the first of a Sylvester McCoy trilogy. And after that, I think it's.
Can I just add, at the end of each now monthly CD, there is the short. It's 10 minutes, isn't it?
Yes, it's a mini-series.
The 3 companions, which will carry on for the entire year, which is Nick Courtney, Annika Wills, John Pickard, and an actor called
Russell Floyd.
Thank you. You're right, cast, I should know. He used to be in EastEnders. And actually, so far, the response has been really good. The first part is out on the end of Magic Mousetrap, but that will be continuing for the whole year. So that was great.
A really interesting development recently has been the Lost Season, Colin Baker's season that was commissioned before he sadly moved on for the part. What was the story in getting that? Has that been something that's been in your mind for a while? Is that something you've been trying to get together for a long time?
That was something David Burke.
That was, yeah. I don't think I've ever got over the fact that it never happened in the 80s, actually. I think it's stayed with me all of these years. And when I joined Big Finish, I just kind of felt I could do something about it in a way. And I kind of took the idea to Jason, and we were doing a lot at the time. It was hard to get it into the schedule. And I just remember John and I used to ring each other up at I get into work early and John starts early, and we'd ring each other up early in the morning and say, how do we convince Jason to do it? We've got to get it done, we've got to get it done.
In fact, I was halfway through adapting Nightmare Fair before we didn't even give him permission.
Oh, did you really? Good for you. So yes, I kept pushing the idea Jason's way, and then one day he said, let's do it. And from there, it was a process of just finding out what was out there in terms of scripts that were never made, and getting the permissions, which probably was a 3 or 4 month trip in itself. There was a lot to do.
So we're releasing them from?
We're releasing them as of November, starting with Nightmare Fair, and then Mission to Magnus. The first 4 are all recorded, and Mission to Magnus is now complete, and it's good. Isn't it?
It is.
Really pleased with it.
It's very difficult when you're trying to adapt something that was originally written for television, because audio is such a different medium, and I think actually it's been pretty well done. I'm quite pleased with it.
Yeah.
Are they being broadcast or released in the order they would have been broadcast in that season?
Well, it's not strictly the season 23 that would have been. We tried to get the Ultimate Evil, but sadly we couldn't come to terms with the writer, so that's not in the lineup. So we've definitely got 3 season 23 stories. The other one is The Hollows of Time by Chris Bidmead, which sees the return of the Tractators, which you directed, didn't you?
I directed it, yes. And you find out where the Gravis was imprisoned by the Doctor.
You do.
I'll ask you, John, I'm convinced that Big Finish was one of the elements pre-2005 that led to the show coming back and its ultimate success. How has Big Finish fared as a result of, because conversely or perversely, that's the kind of thing that could go either way. How has Big Finish done since the success of the show's return? Is it?
I think it's definitely had new people come to the show. I mean, like, in conventions like these, you suddenly see there's a lot more younger people who couldn't possibly have been watching Doctor Who when it was on originally. So yeah, I think we have got new listeners, and certainly the Eighth Doctor stories, because they've been broadcast on BBC Seven, or some of them have. I think again that's brought people to us as well. So yeah.
So you think it's been a good thing that it's just moved, and it also it's attracted a higher calibre of guest actor, hasn't it? You know, you've done really well with your guest stars.
Doctor Who's cool again.
Yes, that's right. Everyone's falling over themselves to do it. You know, it's pretty cool. Is there anyone in your wish list that you might want to tell us that you'd love to get in a Big Finish? Apart from Charlie Ross, of course.
It'd be nice to get David Tennant back. Well, he has done some, but it'd be nice to get him again.
Well, there's that wonderful shot in the story Unbound he did with. He played the second Time Lord, and he's at the very end of the photograph, you know, which is fantastic to see David Tennant. Now he's quite undeniably the first Time Lord, you know. But
I have to say, who was on Lisa and Al's my wish list? Certainly Matt Smith.
Right.
Wanted to get him for a Big Finish, and now he's the Doctor.
Before he was cast.
And Gary Russell told me that when Gary was producer, he was offered Matt Smith by his then agent, Wendy, of course it was, Wendy Badbury, and he turned him down.
Gary Russell, where are you now?
I saw Matt Smith in Party Animals, I just thought he was fantastic.
I'm slightly biased. I mean, you probably know the story. Wendy Padbury, who's up until recently an agent, about 3 or 4 years ago, said, I've got somebody, I take spotlight photographs, actors' photographs when I'm not working, and I've got this young boy, you've got to see him, he's absolutely fantastic. And this very tall, lanky, very sweet, very self-deprecating boy turned up, and Wendy was raving about him, saying that, you know, she found him at the National Youth Theatre, and said she'd finally persuaded the Royal Court Theatre to see him, and they rang up literally 5 minutes after he was out of the door saying, oh my God, this boy is fantastic. And it's Matt Smith, and he was lovely, and he is such a good actor. And the fact that he's got a broad range, he does stage, he doesn't just do the telly, he's not, I mean, everybody's going, oh, he's young, he's Hollyoaks. He's not. He is so not Hollyoaks. And I have great expectations of him, which is probably a terrible thing to say, but he's a very good actor and a nice guy. So.
What are your thoughts, David? Do you think he'll pull it off?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, as I say, I would have cast him in anything. I followed him in Party Animals and the Shadow in the North and Ruby in the Smoke. Yeah, just superb actor.
Actually, just to remember when we were doing the Doctor Who Unbound, one of the ideas I toyed with was the idea that we would deliberately cast a very young man as the Doctor, because that would seem quite a perverse thing to do. And even someone like, I was thinking about, what's that blonde boy who was in Coronation Street?
Adam Ricketts.
Adam Ricketts, yeah. But I just thought that would really upset everyone. But Jason said, no.
Would you, so we're going to wind down a second, but Mr. Tennant is moving on. You're going to give it a bit of time and then ask him if he'll come and do a Big Finish? Is that the plan?
I didn't hear your question, I'm sorry, Lucy, I was talking
David Tennant, are you going to give it a bit of time, let the dust settle, and then ask him to come
play
and
the
do
Doctor?
it? Yes, yep.
Well, we don't have the license to do the new series, whether it's David Tennant or Christopher Eccleston. But I guess in the future that could change. I guess, I mean, of course, we would love to have both Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant and Matt Smith. Yeah, we'd like to do.
Why not? Why not? It's a great marker for, you know, the years to come. You know, you've got a sort of captive audience.
We should mention also that Lisa plays our lead character in our other long-running series. In fact, longer-running than Doctor Who.
Yes, I know Benny Summerfield. So what's happening with Benny these days?
Well,
It goes on and on and on.
I am now the producer of Benny Summerfield, and directed the ones that we did last year. But yes, the 4 new ones are about to come out from June.
And I got the Paul McGann one coming out as well.
Oh yes, well, and the Companion Chronicles as well. So yes, so Benny's briefly back in the Doctor Who line, meets the 8th Doctor on audio for the first time because she apparently can meet him in a novel.
Yes. I've been informed that they got to know each other quite well. That's all I know. That's all I know. I'm not saying yes or no. But it was great fun because I mean I knew Paul socially, and you don't know how the characters are going to interact, but actually you sort of hit the ground running. It seemed to go pretty well. It was quite a bantery sort of half-an-hour play, which goes in with a lot of the other novel characters, isn't it? There's it's called A Company of Friends. Who are the other ones?
There's Izzy, Fitz, and Mary Shelley. As in Frankenstein, yeah.
Fabulous. That's great. That's really cool.
And for those of you who are interested, the enormous great tome, which is about the history of Bernie Summerfield, which has been promised to you for about 18 months, is due out apparently in the summer. So we'll be very, very pleased to see this book, which Simon Gurrier has put a lot of hard work into. It's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
Yes.
But it's taken a while. And there have been reasons, but that's due out in the summer as well.
Fabulous.
Could I say one thing?
Yeah.
If anybody wants to catch up with Big Finish or sample us for the first time, we're doing lots of special offers today, actually really knockdown prices on the table over there. And we also do our own little magazine called Vortex, which we're giving away free, so come and help yourselves to one.
And Lisa will be on the stall today. We're selling loads of the Benny titles, and Lisa will of course sign anything that anyone buys with us.
Okay, right, well at the end of each panel today we're going to do a little auction of some items that have been signed and some special items for you, and of course all the proceeds are going to charity. Do we know which charity yet, Erica? Mike? Do we know which charity? It's going to charity. It'll go to, it'll be a good cause, and probably Erica will use it to buy you a drink tonight
Yeah,
at the bar.
Doctor Who, Actors Benevolent.
We should set up a home, shouldn't we? It's like for old Doctor Who actor. Fraser, you could be in that. Anyway, so don't worry about it. It was funny. It's okay. But yes, so what we've got here is got a couple of Big Finish. Well, in fact, why don't you introduce these? We've got.
Actually, I got them done, so shall I extend them?
David.
That's very good.
Okay. We have Home Truths signed by Jean Marsh, Neil McGregor, who is the guest actor, by Lisa, who directed it, and by Simon Guerrier, who wrote it. And it's a real collector's item, actually. Yeah. And the other one is, again, a collector's item, Brotherhood of the Daleks, signed by Colin Baker, India Fisher, and Nick Briggs, who he didn't write it, sorry, he directed it and played the Daleks in it. So, absolute rarities.
Excellent, good stuff. Well, we'll start off with, we'll do them separately. We'll start off with Home Truth with Jean Marsh. What will we start this off with? Start off at £10?
Yes, because that's what you pay for it.
Okay, right. He's hard work, isn't he? Right. So we'll start this off. Anyone went to £10 for the signed copy of Home Truths with Jean Marsh? Well, went for £10 over there. Will we say 12 anywhere? 12? £12? Please don't let it go for what you can get it for over there on the bloody table. £12 over there, fantastic. £14? 14 in the back. We have 16? £16. We're already in profit, we're doing well. £16, gentleman in the back there. Does he 16? It's going to 14. Do we see 16 anywhere? 16 anywhere? 16? 16 over there, excellent. 18? 18, yes, 18, £20. Anyone 20? Come on, Gareth, you're loaded. Come on, you get your wallet out. 20, we've got an 18. So, do we see £20 anywhere? 18 going once, going twice. Last chance. Sold for £18. Round of applause, please. Well done, sir. Thank you very much. We'll sort that out in a minute. Brotherhood of the Daleks. There you go, that's great. Yeah, that's the only thing that stopped kids from bullying me when I was at school. So,
Start at 15.
yeah, start at 15 with this one, okay? I'll be strict orders here. So £15 for Brotherhood of the Daleks. Any? Yes, we have £15 there, signed by Colin Baker and Nick Briggs. And India, yes. Do we see 17 anywhere? £17, we've got 15 already. Do you see 17? Oh, you £17 in the front there, excellent. 19? £19, yep. 20, £21, yep. £21 over there. Don't know, I'm going to have odd numbers, but it's quirky, it's interesting. £21 over there. Do I see 23 anywhere? Yes, 23 anywhere. 25? 25? We've got 23. £25 in the front row. Do I see 27? £27, my goodness, 27. Let's go to 30. Anyone want to do 30? £30, yes. We're just beaten by the lady before. We'll go up, we'll do evens now. Okay, so 32? Yes, 32, fantastic. Will anyone go to 34? We're standing at 32, £34 anywhere. The lady in the front. 34! Oh, she hates you. Oh, look at her face. Do I see 36 anywhere? 36, yes. Anyone going to 38? 38, no. 36, going once. Going twice. £36, the lady in the front row. Fabulous. That's wonderful. Thank you very much, that's wonderful. So So there you go, Erica. There's a few pints in the bar tonight. That's well sorted. Okay, good stuff. Well, we've nothing more to do but to thank our guests from Big Finish. Please do introduce us to Big Finish. It's a wonderful series. Remember that they've done an awful lot of hard work to keep Doctor Who going over the years, and it's easy to step away from these things now that we've got it all flashy and on telly, but they're fantastic stories and it's really good stuff. So please stick with it and give the guys a chat to them. They're really good. So we've got a round of applause for David Richardson. Okay, so if the people that won the auction, if they want to go to Erica there, and we'll get you sorted out at some point. So who's doing the next panel? Oh, 5 minute break. Okay, we're in a little 5 minute break. Just chill out in 5 minutes. I'm back with Fraser Hines in a few minutes. Okay, thank you.
I'm kind of weary. I'm not old enough to have seen the original stuff. I've only seen it when it's been reissued in the wonderfully crisp, vid-fired Enemy of the World episode 3 and stuff like that. Yeah. So I've come into it, but you've got that unique perspective, haven't you? Because you've been in from the start. What's your impression of how Doctor Who was built over the course of the years?
Perspective, what does that mean?
Just
throwing long words at me this time of morning.
Well, you've been in from the beginning, and that's what.
I joined Patrick, the second Doctor. It's been great to see actually how the programme has gone from black and white, then into colour, and then into the show that we've got today, which is budget-wise a lot bigger budget. In fact, we were doing one of the audios for the BBC, Wendy Padbury and I, The Invasion, and we broke for coffee, and we said, I wonder what the budget was for this episode. And one of the guys said, oh, just a minute. And he came back 10 minutes later with this great big sort of solicitor's folder done up with a ribbon. Blew the dust off, opened it, and said, yes, Ronald Lee Hunt was on £110 an episode. He was a special guest. You were on £64 an episode. Fraser, the set cost £1,200. And I thought the BBC has kept all the paperwork, but they've burnt the episodes.
It is the irony that if you could go back in time, one of the first things I would do is go and get those episodes out of the fire and bring them back to the present day. So
yeah, well, again, you see the story with the T-Mac when Ronnie Lee Hunt came in, there's one zipped-up spacesuit, because that's how we thought in '64. In 1980, people would be wearing one. But of course, he had the briefcase, because the writers obviously could never foresee computers or mobile phones. So they still had these big computers whirring around, but nobody ever thought, because you wouldn't do it, otherwise the writers would be millionaires because they invented the laptop. But he still came with his briefcase and all the paperwork.
Right.
We were all laughing at that.
Was there any really bizarre props when you were making that back in the day that you thought that will never happen, that you've actually seen come to fruition, that have actually existed?
No, because there was certain things that, you know, the T-Mac, I guess, would be the one thing that I would love if somebody could invent. Where you just stepped on this mat and said, take me to Barbados, or take me to Bridlington, or wherever you went, instead of having to queue up at an airport, take your shoes and socks off, take your lip salve, and they throw that in a bin, you know, and your bottled water, you know. No, I'd love the T-Mac.
Cool. You have done the Big Finish guys mentioned earlier on. You've recently returned to do the companion.
For years I'd never done one. I'd never done, and I thought, I'm the only actor that's never done a Big Finish. And then I did one of the Companions Chronicle a couple of years ago, and touch wood, that seemed to work all right. And then they asked me back.
Yeah, you've just done this recently. How much can you tell us about the one you've just done?
I don't know. It's very good. And at the end, we all have a little chat, you know, what we're up to and what happened, you know, and any complaints, and we all said, yeah, we wanted Lisa Bauman to direct it, not David Richardson. Because she looks better over a cup of coffee than he does. You know.
And then, have you done any other audio work other than the Big Finish Who's?
For the BBC?
Yeah.
Yes, I did one last year, and again, that should be coming out this year.
Right.
I've done so many now, you sort of lose track.
Right.
But the boys were earlier saying, I do this sort of Patrick voice. When they did the first Big Finish, you know, he had a couple of lines. I just said, look, should I just say it like Patrick? Oh yeah, you can do. Then the second Big Finish we did, Patrick, my doctor, was speaking a lot more.
Yeah.
Which was great. And I thought I should get 2 fees for that, but never mind. But it came about because years and years ago, we had this huge Emperor Dalek in one of the Dalek stories, in the black and white days. And there's this huge Emperor Dalek like that. And my my line, because you know the Dalek has all these sphericals around him. I had to say, oh, look at the balls on that thing, Doctor. And I couldn't say it, you know. And I look at the whole. We kept corpsing and laughing. And in the end, I think it was Paddy Russell, the director. Oh, for goodness' sake, boys, say it. And we couldn't. So I had to. In the end, we changed. Look at the size of that thing, Doctor. Yes, Jamie, it is a big one, isn't it?